Hello, my name is Rimantas. I'm yoga teacher from Lithuania. I'm not very good in English, but I will try to do what I can to explain a little bit about what is Hatha Yoga. So today we are going to talk about what is Hatha Yoga. Let's start from the beginning. What is yoga? Yoga is a very powerful system that helps us to improve ourselves, that helps us to develop ourselves, and that helps us to become our better version in physical level, it means body level, in mental level, in mind level, thoughts level, and in spiritual level. From Sanskrit, word yoga means connection, means union. So yoga is a system that came to us from ancient times, and in those ancient times and still nowadays, knowledge of yoga are coming from teachers, and they are going to students. In yoga system, there is a lot of different methods that help us to improve ourselves and that help us to improve our regular life. All yoga system, it was created by sage Patanjali, who lived about before 2400 years. We can find all this yoga system in classical text that we are calling Sutras of Patanjali. Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I think this is how we are calling it in English language. Today we are going to talk about one of the parts of yoga, and this is the part that we are calling Hatha Yoga. So to understand what is Hatha Yoga, we need to understand what is yoga. So yoga and the way how sage Patanjali designed all that yoga system, yoga have 8 different limbs, 8 different steps that are coming from easier steps, and they're become harder, and the steps are those: first yama, second niyama, third asana, fourth pranayama, number 5 pratyahara, number 6 dharana, number 7 dhyana, and the number 8 samadhi. And all those 8 limbs, they mean that there is different levels of consciousness, and yoga system helps us to go through all those different levels of consciousness, and it means from very physical level to very subtle level. And yoga as a system offers very different methods that can help us to go to our deeper levels of consciousness. Usually first four limbs, first 4 steps of Patanjali, usually we call it Hatha Yoga, because all 8 steps usually we are calling that Raja Yoga. So to understand what is Hatha Yoga, we know that yoga by Saint Patanjali, by sage Patanjali, it is 8 limbs, 8 steps, and first half of that means Hatha Yoga. So it's yama, niyama, asana, and pranayama. So now, what are those steps? What are they all about? Yama. Yama is moral code or moral recommendation. What should a person who are practicing yoga, what should do in relationship between him and between outer world. Niyama. It's recommendations for discipline, and asana are static poses. Pranayama means control of breathing or control of prana energy, and usually those four we are calling Hatha Yoga. So why do we need to use those recommendations? Because levels of consciousness, they are going from very physical level to very subtle levels, and if we are trying to jump away from one of our levels, it will not give us good result in practice. So we need yama and niyama to develop our good relationship with other people, with other world. We need to do asanas, because asanas helps to strengthen our body, to make it a little bit more flexible, to make all our inside systems works perfect. And we need that because in the future we will need all those asanas that we do, we need only for that to be able to sit in the meditation poses and to do meditation practices. And pranayama, I would say it's first level of working with our energies. It means our different thought, different states that we being in our usual life. Okay, so where we can find a little bit more about Hatha Yoga? We can find a little bit more about Hatha Yoga in classical texts of Hatha Yoga. First text, Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Second text, Shiva Samhita. Third text, Ghyaranda Samhita. All three texts are classical texts, and in those texts we can find very original text of how saints, sages were understanding all those things that we're trying to learn it today. So, for example, Sage Patanjali, he is recommending to start yoga practice from Yama and Niyama. Now, in the next classical text, in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Sage Svatmarama, he is recommending to start yoga practice from Shat Karmas. What is Shat Karmas? Shat from Sanskrit means 6. Karma means action. 6 actions. Shat Karma means techniques that help us to clean our body from inside. Shat Karmas is cleansing techniques that help us to remove toxins from our body. We need to understand that if our body have all kind of dirt, all kind of bad things inside us, our body cannot work properly. And this is the reason why Sage Svatmarama are offering us to start yoga practice from Shat Karmas. You can write easily on the internet word Shat Karmas, and you will find very different methods that help us to improve our health, improve our the way how our body works. By the way, some of those methods are very, very easy. Okay, so in Hatha Yoga there is a few more things that we need to know. In Hatha Yoga there is bandhas. Bandhas is locks that help us to help energies that are in our body to make it flow in a different way. Also in Hatha Yoga there is mudras. Probably you saw that somewhere. For example, when somebody sit in meditation posture, he sit and he put fingers like that. This is mudras. Mudra is some kind of sign of body, it can be some kind of posture of body, or it can be some kind of posture of part of our body. For example, as a finger. There is a lot of different mudras, and some of mudras are signs of hands and fingers. Okay, so now to make a little conclusion, what is Hatha Yoga? What we are calling Hatha Yoga? It's Yama principles, it's Niyama principles, it's asanas, it's pranayamas, it's shatkarmas, it's bandhas, and it's mudras. And usually when we see that somebody are doing yoga somewhere and we don't know what he is doing, what style, what tradition yoga he is doing. So if those people are doing asanas, pranayamas, bandhas, if they're talking about moral and ethic principles, it means that they are doing Hatha Yoga. So we can call word Hatha Yoga not like different style, because there is a lot of different styles, but we can call word Hatha Yoga like just one word that fits for different styles that we have now in this huge world. One of the main goals of Hatha Yoga is to create full balance between physical body, between mind, and between energy, between states that we are in our usual life. Another very important goal of Hatha Yoga is to make good health. It means Hatha Yoga, when we're doing asanas, when we're doing pranayamas, help us to get rid of all kinds of diseases. Hatha Yoga is trying to remove all kinds of diseases, because if people have diseases, it's very hard to do other practices. Also, Hatha Yoga trying to make our body and to make our mind more flexible. Also, Hatha Yoga help us to calm our mind, calm our our wind of mind, where when there is a lot of different thoughts, and it's really hard, and sometimes you can get even a little bit annoyed of that. So Hatha Yoga also helps us to calm our mind. Then Hatha Yoga also helps to make that our all kind of inside all parts of our body works very good, very perfect. And of course, yoga helps people to maintain good level of central nervous system. There is word Hatha created from two smaller bija mantras. Word Ha mean mind, mean mental energy. Word tha means prana and life energy. And word hatha means harmony between positive energy in our body and between negative energy in our body. And hatha, word hatha means harmony between those energies. One of the important things in Hatha Yoga to get result is regularity. It means that if you want to get result in Hatha Yoga, we need to do it regularly. Usually 3 times a week with about 2 hours of practice is quite perfect when we are starting yoga. For some people it can be a little bit less, and for some people it can be a little bit more, but we don't need to make it very hard practice. When sometimes people want to start very hard, they do it every time, every day, very strong. So no, it's not the way how we should do it. We should start little by little, but regularly. And regularity is, to do it regular is very important. So in yoga there is a lot of different asanas. For example, asana standing postures, sitting postures, lying on the mat postures, different postures when we need to make things like that. For example, there is postures when we need to put our legs somewhere up, and all those different asanas, all those different postures, they help us to get all that good result that Hatha Yoga gives for us. Also, there is one more thing that we need to know and we need to remember when we're practicing yoga, that all those asanas, we need that in order in the future to start our meditation practice. Because sometimes people think that, oh, I will do yoga practice, it will give good health for me, and that's all. Of course, it's also a very good thing, but yoga practice created not for that. Not that person would have only good health. Yoga is created to expand our consciousness. Yoga is created to become our better versions. Yoga is a system that helps us to understand the deepest levels, the deepest layers of our consciousness, of ourselves. And this is the journey into ourselves. Not to somewhere, out, but to go inside. So it's very, it's very interesting journey, I would say that. Okay, so a little bit more about asanas. When we're doing asanas, there is one principle that we need to know. When we do asanas, it should be comfortable to do them, but there should be some kind of we need to do asanas the way that it would be a little bit hard for us to do that. For example, if we're standing in some kind of posture and we see that we can push a little bit more, and we need to do this. Why? Because if we will do asanas, only asanas that we like, there will be no growth. So if we want to get better result, for example, there is our level and there is level that we can achieve. So what we need to do, we need to make a little bit stronger. And in yoga we're saying that we need to make it 70% of strongness, 70% of our, 70% of our all that passion in asanas, but not more. It means that we don't need to go to one side full, and we need not to go in another side full. It means that we need to look for a golden, golden middle, in the golden middle. We need to find middle, golden middle. Okay, so yeah, so this is about that. Now there is one very important part in Hatha Yoga that we are doing almost in every practice is relaxation. In Hatha Yoga there is asana that we are calling Shavasana, and usually it's the last part of our practice and usually everybody very loves this part because in Shavasana everybody what we need to do, we're just lying on the mat and we need to close our eyes, hands like that, foot like all that, and we're relaxing. And from 10 to 20 minutes we are just relaxing our body. And we need that because when we're doing this relaxation, our systems inside us, they make balance in this relaxation. So Shavasana is very important, and for example, if you're doing yoga practice but you do not do relaxation, you do not do Shavasana, it's very, very important. And there is a lot of huge and good benefits of relaxation, because nowadays speed of life are very, very, very crazy, and person for him it's very hard to find where to relax. So Shavasana is one of the great things. Okay, so to make a conclusion, we can say that Hatha Yoga is very great instrument, very powerful instrument that help us to improve ourselves, that help us to develop our good qualities, that help us to grow personally and to make us grow into three main levels: physical level, mental level, and spiritual level. And when you see, for example, that in some kind of yoga somebody are doing asanas or pranayamas, it means it's Hatha Yoga. Because there is very different names how how teachers are calling that, but words Hatha Yoga is like a words for all those practices, because those practices are written in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. For example, there is different styles even nowadays like those. To understand, there is Kriya Yoga, there is Shivananda Yoga, there is Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, there is Bikram Yoga, there is Bihar Yoga, there is Yoga Therapy, there is Iyengar Yoga, there is Sukshma Vyayama Yoga, and other styles. And how does it work? Imagine there was a teacher, there was a great yoga teacher, and he developed all those styles by himself, by using all those methods of yoga, and all those styles, those teachers expand those styles, and still, even nowadays, we can use those methods that those teachers gave to us. So even in those methods, there are different methods how they are working. But for example, if we're doing asanas, if we're doing pranayamas, it means Hatha Yoga. Yeah. So it's so basically like that. If you have any question related to what is Hatha Yoga, how does it work, feel free to write your question in comment. If you have an option, an ability to start practicing yoga, I very recommend. I'm very new into yoga. I started to teach yoga practices only in 2018, but yoga really changed life of people. yoga really makes a huge and very great impact on how persons see the world, on how people react to the world, on how people react to himself. And this change, the most interesting thing that, usually when we're watching some kind of movie, it's very interesting, it's very attractive, there is a lot of different action in this movie. But in yoga, there is one very important moment. For example, when you're going into the cinema, you're watching this movie, and when movie are finishing, you think you're going out and you think, oh yes, that was a great movie. And in the yoga, it's a little bit different. When you're doing yoga, you start to see changes in yourself, and you understand that those changes are good and great changes. Also, we need to understand that all that yoga system, it was created by sages, by people who really understood much better how this life works, and they left all that knowledge for us and for all people, because sages, they think always for the whole world, for everybody, and they left us very good practices, very good moral code, and very powerful methods for us to do, and those methods really works. So if you have an option, I recommend you to start, to maybe to learn something, maybe to watch something in yoga topic, and I'm sure that you will find there very interesting things. I hope it was valuable for you. Thank you for watching. If you like, feel free to subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you one more time, and goodbye.